My mind has. The workings of the mind look out through the face and alter it. Sometimes, some mornings, the ones after the really bad nights, I look in the mirror and don't recognize the woman I see there. This was going to be one of those really bad nights, though I had no idea how bad it was going to get. But I could tell there was no point in going to bed. My feet itched to be moving. I dressed again, throwing my sweaty workout clothes into the hamper and pulling on blue jeans and a t-shirt, tucking in the t-shirt and pulling a belt through the belt loops. My hair was only a little damp. The blow dryer finished the job. I pulled on a dark windbreaker. Front door, back door, kitchen door. Some nights it takes me a while to decide. The back. Though I keep my doors greased so they swing back and forth almost noiselessly, the back door is the quietest. The back door is directly opposite the front door, making my house a shotgun house. From my back door, I can look down the hall and through the living room, which occupies the width of the front of the house, to check to make sure the deadbolt is shot. It was, of course. I'm not one to neglect security. I locked the back door as I left, using another key to turn the deadbolt from the outside. I pushed the key down to the very bottom of my front pocket where it couldn't possibly fall out. I stood on the tiny back porch for a minute, inhaling the faint scent of the new leaves on the climbing rose vines. The vines were halfway up the trellis I'd built to make the little porch prettier. Of course, it also obstructed my view of anyone approaching, but when the first roses open in about a month, I won't regret it. I've loved roses since I was a child. We lived on a large lot in a small town, and roses filled the backyard. That yard of my childhood was easily 5 times as big as this backyard, which extends less than 20 feet, ending abruptly in a steep slope up to the railroad tracks. The slope is covered with weeds, but from time to time a work crew wanders through to keep the weeds under control. To my left, as I faced the tracks, was the high wooden privacy fence that surrounded the Shakespeare garden apartments. It's slightly uphill from my house. To my right and downhill was the equally tiny backyard of the only other house on the street. It's nearly an exact copy of my house, and it's owned by an accountant named Carlton Cockcroft. Carlton's lights were off, not too surprising at this hour of the night. The only light I could see in the apartment building was in Deidre Dean's place. As I glanced up, her window fell dark. 1 o'clock in the morning. I silently stepped off my little back porch, my walking shoes making almost no noise in the grass, and began to move invisibly through the streets of Shakespeare. The night was still and dark, no wind, the moon only a crescent in cold space. I couldn't even see myself. I liked that. An hour and a half later, I felt tired enough to sleep. I was on my way home, and I wasn't trying to conceal myself anymore. In fact, I was being sloppy. I was using the sidewalk that borders the Arboretum, a fancy name for an overgrown park with some labels on trees and bushes. Estes Arboretum takes up a block of definitely unprime Shakespeare real estate. Each of the 4 streets edging the park has a different name, and my street, Track, on the park's east side, is only a block long, so there's little traffic, and every morning I get to look out my front window and see trees across the street instead of someone else's carport. I rounded the corner from the south side of the Arboretum, Latham Street, to Track. I was opposite the little piece of scrubland that no one claimed, just south of Carlton Cockcroft's house. I wasn't careless enough to linger under the weak streetlight at the corner. There's one at each corner of the Arboretum, as Shakespeare's budget can't run to putting streetlights in the middle of the block, especially in this obscure part of town. I hadn't seen a soul all night, but suddenly I was aware I wasn't alone. Someone was stirring in the darkness on the other side of the street. Instinctively, I concealed myself, sliding behind a live oak on the edge of the park.